Alrighty, next we have a continued public hearing on ordinance number 784, an ordinance of the town of Easton prohibiting retail establishments in the town from providing customers with single-use disposable plastic bags and providing for exemptions from the prohibition and penalties for violations. If anyone has anything to bring before the council regarding this public hearing, please come to the podium, state your name.
Hi, I'm Elaine Tama, and I've been working on this for a while with my friend Marion Arnold and Mary Yancey. We had a few comments about the ordinance itself. One is that it's very important in the ordinance to clearly define what we're talking about. So we recommend that we use the words single-use plastic carry-out bag whenever we can in the ordinance, because if you just use the words plastic bags, it's going to cause a lot of confusion. So we feel like we need to narrow that down. So in section 18.7, prohibition on providing customers with single-use plastic carry-out bags at point of sale is pretty clear. Retail establishments shall not provide single-use plastic carry-out bags at point of sale. And over in another section, single-use plastic carry-out bag, it's item 2, means a carry-out bag made of plastic that is not a reusable carry-out bag. And then that's followed by the definition of what a reusable carry-out bag is. So that's one thing I wanted to say about it. The other thing is that we would really like to see a charge for paper bags, and we have a lot of evidence on our side that shows that if there's no charge for paper bags, a lot of people will opt to simply switch to free paper bags. I forgot your part, but I'll bring it up later. So I just wanted to say, if you have a fee for a paper bag, it's an incentive to your shoppers to switch and bring their own reusable bags. If the bags are free, there is no incentive. And it currently works very well at Aldi's, where I have shopped. They charge 15 cents for a paper bag, and almost everybody, I think, goes in there. We have our own survey, actually, that shows that people coming out of Aldi's generally bring their own bags. The Maryland Retailers Association, who are here tonight, testified a couple of hearings ago that it would be helpful to the retailers to charge because of the increased cost to them of paper bags. Paper bags do have an environmental impact. You have to cut down trees, you have to do the manufacturing of the paper. There are chemicals that are released into the environment. So it's not that paper bags are not impacting the environment, they are. And then we have our own survey that the Sierra Club just did in Laurel, Maryland. And Laurel passed a plastic bag bill, but they didn't have any fee in there for paper bags. So before the bill was passed, 86.7% of the shoppers were using plastic bags. After this bill was passed, 68.3% of the shoppers were using free paper bags. So to me, that's such startling evidence of what will happen if we don't have a fee. A lot of people will just opt to use free paper bags.
Yeah, and to that point, I just wanted to say, you know, we are all.
Could you please give your name?
Sorry,
please?
I'm Marion Arnold from Plastic Free Easton. If you allow stores to, it's not a tax. The fee would be money that the stores would keep. Kind of threw me off track there a little bit there, but
So,
What it does is, we all pay for paper bags, we pay for plastic bags, and it's done by being part of the cost of doing business. So if you explicitly request that somebody pay for a paper bag, that actually carries that cost, the expense that we're already all sharing, it carries it into the open. In other words, if somebody gets 10 cents a bag from you, just purchases a paper bag from you, it's more in the open. It also, people who use reusable bags, I didn't realize this, but if you are using a reusable bag, you're still supporting the plastic bag industry, because the cost of products in the store still reflect the cost of doing business, and part of the cost of doing business is offering the buying public plastic or paper bags. So we just wanted to just give it one more shot, and just say that, you know, this is actually an important piece to the environmental aspect of the proposed bill, and we'd hope you might consider that.
And now Mary Yancey is going to also have her comments about the bill.
Hi, my name is Mary Yancey. I live at 333 North Washington Street in Easton, and I'm a member of Plastic Free Easton. So I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you all very much for all your hard work and attention that you've been paying to this very important bill, and I really appreciate, you know, where you've gotten so far, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go. I'm just going to reiterate, I sent you an email this week, just a couple of concerns that we do have. One is the phrase food service facilities, where it resides right now, at least at the last reading that I saw of the bill, up near the top, exempted in the same place where restaurants are exempted. It's unclear. First of all, it's not defined. And if it were to be defined in that location in the bill, you have to realize it seems to me that in that location it's exempting the whole entire store. So I think it's better if the intention there is to exempt stores that serve wet food and that sort of thing, that be done in the bullet point exemptions, down item number 10, that you exempt the actual foods that are being provided, and I think that wording is in there now, rather than having that up near the top where it's vague. And quite honestly, if it's not defined, it's going to make it very, very difficult for enforcement. And might open you up to lawsuits. Let's see. The only other thing is that, again, I would like to reiterate support for charging, requiring the merchants to charge a fee for paper bags, because again, that fee does really shift the behavior of consumers, and there's a lot of clear evidence of that, really significant, that people will bring their own reusable bags rather than simply relying then on free single-use paper bags, which is not good for the environment. And also, if you don't charge that fee, I feel like that really will disadvantage the small independent businesses who are, can least afford to absorb that extra cost for all those paper bags, right? Because the larger stores, they can absorb that cost, but the small independent stores can't, right? So when you require the fee, everybody's got to charge the fee, and they keep the money. That it levels the playing field, for those small independent businesses. And I think that's, we really want to protect those in town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Cook and council members. My name is Sarah Price, and I'm here on behalf of the Maryland Retailers Association. Thank you to those of you who have had time to speak with me since the ordinance was first introduced. Tonight I'm here to reiterate for the public the points that I've shared with you over email over the last month or two. We do agree with Plastic-Free Easton. We would like to see a 10-cent fee floor established by the governing body for all businesses. We surveyed our members who operate in Westminster, who, just for reminder's sake, Westminster has had a ban on plastic up to 4 millimeters with no fee on paper. That has been in effect for about a year. So we asked our members what impact that has had on their businesses and what changes they've seen in customer behavior. One large chain store that is in Westminster that is also here in Easton reported that they just transitioned to the thicker plastic instead of paper, and that before their law went into effect, they were giving out about 1.1 million bags per year, and that number has only dropped to 915,000, the big number, I'm sorry. So the fact that it's a ban-only model with no fee, it's not doing anything to encourage people to bring their own bags. Other stores that have made the transition to paper have reported that paper, as you know, costs more, and it typically comes in smaller cases. So one store reported that they were previously paying about 2 cents per plastic bag for in one case of bags. Now the cost for a case of paper is 15 cents per bag. Another store reported that for the typical number of bags that they would order, they would usually spend $7,000 on plastic. The same number of paper bags is $30,000. And a grocer that does have a location in Easton reported that they did impose their own fee, but it's only 5 cents because they do have to worry about the competition that would introduce for their business, and that only covers about half the cost of their bags. Setting a fee floor for all businesses, it does establish an even playing field. As Plastic-Free Easton noted, that would protect the small businesses. I know you've all received feedback from businesses in the area that already use paper, and they have concerns about setting a fee where their customers aren't, they're already used to getting paper and they do not currently expect a fee. But if every business in town has the same fee set, customers know what to expect everywhere they go. And in the future, when the supply of paper goes down, demand goes up, they're harder to find and they cost more, that fee will already be in place. So businesses don't have to worry about imposing that on their customers without them knowing that it's coming, and they will already have been collecting the fee to help offset those costs. I know at your previous meeting you were talking about what happens with the supply of bags. Businesses are concerned about being able to get bags, and one of the members in Westminster reported that the typical turnaround for an order of plastic bags was 7 days. Paper, when it's on time, is 30 days. And as of July 26th, they were still waiting on their June order for paper bags. So we really think that you need to strongly consider setting a fee that retailers can retain so that it will help offset those costs. It's going to give everybody an even playing field, and it will ultimately encourage more people to bring their own bags instead of just switching to the next disposable option. Additionally, the simple request is that we would continue to urge you to include exemptions for a bag for live creatures, so like fish or insects from a pet supply store, and for packages of multiple bags for food storage. The ordinance already has an exemption for trash bags, but because it specifically refers to trash bags and not for things like sandwich baggies or freezer bags, there's concern that those aren't covered as well. So you want to make sure that that's as clear as possible. Finally, we would strongly encourage you to consider a 1-year effective date. You strongly referenced Baltimore City and the strong impact that their ordinance has had on their city, and the way that they've gotten everybody on board with it. And part of the way that they did that was having a long, a far out effective date, so that they had enough time to really make sure that everybody knew what was coming and when. So with that, I thank you for your consideration, and we'd be happy to answer any other questions you have.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Anyone else? All right, Mr. Chapman, I have a question for you.
Good.
I'd like to close the public hearing on the plastic bag ordinance, ordinance 784. If the council decides to add the food stores, the live pet, or any of the other points that were brought up tonight, are we allowed to do that, or does that change the ordinance significantly to reopen another public hearing?
That's a good question. I know we were looking for, I know that Sharon was looking for comments there. She had gotten no comments on the last proposed language, but whether or not there needs to be a new public hearing on the proposed language, I will need to get you an answer on that.
Okay, so I can always close it tonight and then
Yeah.
reopen at a later time?
Yes.
All right. No one else has any comments? We're gonna close the public hearing on ordinance 784.
I've got a number of comments, so.
Absolutely.
I can't believe I'm doing this being your next cop, but this is all grammar.
Okay.
On the first page, in the second paragraph, we say, whereas single-use plastic carryout bags generate, then we give a list of 7 items. The 7 items all start plastic bags. That's different than the single-use plastic carryout bags. Either we put single-use plastic bags, and then start off with contribute, constitute, not accepted, but it has to be parallel. But the way it is right now, it's wrong.
Okay.
And I had another one. I've received also several things from constituents. One of them, and this is nitpicky, but I think it's a good point. It says dry clean goods.
Mhm.
Well, not all goods that come from a dry cleaner are dry cleaned, like those that have starched shirts. So I would say dry clean and or laundered goods. And there's also one, prescription drugs obtained from a pharmacy. All mine have been paper for years. I've never seen that.
Right.
And I just got my monthly dose yesterday. So I don't know that we need to have that. It just seems like that. And
Don't ask.
I also got Mary's thing about food service facilities. I don't have an answer to that one. I think she raised the question.
Mhm.
Maybe there's another word in there someone will come up with, but I think it should not include restaurants and or food service facilities. What are food service facilities? So that,
Needs to be defined.
pardon?
It needs to be defined.
Yeah, let me see if I got the other one. Oh, and then, this also came from, the, Easton, group. It says, shall include small amounts of ice provided to minimize spoilage when fresh fish are purchased. I think we sort of cover that with the fish. I think that's extreme, but Mr. Benerick does a good job of giving us stuff. I just make sure that he knew that we looked at it, but I think that the fish covers that.
Right. He mentioned the dry cleaning also. I think Mr. Minerick.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Good
all the
point.
comments I have.
Sounds good.
I'd also like to add, just you all, council members anyway, saw my email this weekend. I really do think we need to reconsider, as was mentioned this evening, the charge for paper bags. As time goes on, more and more municipalities around this country are going to paper bags, and it's just going to be harder and harder for businesses to track them down, or they're going to become more and more expensive. So I really do believe that we can take pressure off of businesses by initiating some kind of fee, 10-cent fee, on paper bags and get people to start bringing their own. Again, cutting away that one convenience to another convenience, just making it so that people are not using what the store offers, but bringing their own bags.
So the further flush that out, what kind of timetable are you talking about? The day of the implementation of the ordinance, or are you going to give, in your purview, the businesses a opportunity to understand, recognize, and be ready for implementation?
Yeah, I think there needs to be that window of opportunity for that to occur, as much as we can give them without it being no longer effective. So I would be fine with giving businesses some time to get things in order, but also give residents time to get their bags, their take-home bags, so that they're not stuck in a bad situation when this does switch over.
Well, I thought that from 6 months from the approval, that would be an opportunity for the residents to, and the bags, the free bags if they're given out. But then you say the businesses, so where do they play in your mind in the concept? In the 6 months or a year? I mean, I ask you for, really what I'm asking for is your thought on the time limit.
Well, if you, in the email I had written you guys this week, and I had suggested maybe a couple of opportunities for this to start, whether it was 6 months or a year.
Okay.
I would be fine with either one of those.
We already have 6 months written in.
We already do have 6 months written in.
But if we're still negotiating, retailers are telling us, suggesting a year. Baltimore did a year, did a big ramp-up campaign to get it done. If individuals are having trouble getting their product now, then maybe we should consider that. Maybe 6 months is too fast. Something to consider.
Any other points, gentlemen?
I got one more. We can't just do this blindly. So if we, at the point we enact this bill, I think we need to ensure that there's adequate public information to the town through every type of resource we can to make sure that people understand this is happening. I think that merchants need to also do their fair show, let people know this is happening. Otherwise, we'll get the 2% and never get the word. They're going to show up after a year with their plastic bags and say, I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah. Well, I suggest you go on the website for the city of Baltimore and take a look at what they did. They've had little decals made up so each of the businesses can put decals in their windows. They've used a multimedia campaign. So whatever we do, we need to do something like that.
Yeah, I think I think that was a part of the suggestion anyway, that would happen as a part of the educational process before the implementation. That 6 month window would be that time where that would happen in our community, and with media, social media helping out. I think people don't get it until they get it. And so that would be a great opportunity to spread the word. So
I think we all agree that there's definitely going to be a educational ramp up, if you want to call it, between the start, whenever this passes, and the time it takes effect, for sure. Mr. Chapman, did we cut you off accidentally?
No, my only thought was that probably in terms of reopening a public hearing depends on the nature of the changes that will be proposed.
So, gentlemen, what I would encourage you to do is to send your corrections and comments, I guess, to Sharon and Will. We can put it all down in one piece of paper, and we can send it back out in our packet and make comments on it next time.
Might want to do another work session to
If needed.
finalize it.
If needed.
if we get a consensus on.
Anything else related to the ordinance? Appreciate everyone's time and energy that we put into this. It's taken some time, but I think the end is near. So we're getting close.